All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session. My name is Shayla Bowden, and I am the COO of the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce and also the Executive Director of our SBA Women's Business Center. I'm very excited to be moderating this panel as I have a background in banking of 13 years. We have some amazing women here on the panel that will be talking to you about access to capital, as we know is one of the things that all entrepreneurs need, especially when we think about the costs associated with starting a business, or if you're at the point where you are looking to expand and grow. Capital is one of those things that you need. So we are excited to share a lot of resources with you and tips to help you with your business, regardless if you're starting up or if you're looking to expand and grow. So at this time, I'm going to have our lovely panelists self-introduce themselves, and we're going to start with Norma. So Norma?
Hello, everyone. My name is Norma Serrano. I am Senior Vice President and Relationship Manager at Origin Bank. I have over 31 years of experience specializing in commercial and private banking. As a trusted advisor, I look to find solutions for our clients as we identify their needs and their goals. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
I like when y'all talk back, good morning. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I am Courtney Taylor, Senior Vice President of Community Development for Veritex Community Bank. We are a Texas-based bank, so we are Texan all the way, but we have a variety of products and services for small business owners, so I'm super happy to be here with you all this morning.
And good morning, my name is Linda Toyota. I see that I got a promotion when you're looking at my name here that says I'm president of LiftFund. I am the market executive for LiftFund, and these are all bank people. LiftFund is not a bank. We are a nonprofit CDFI, so we focus on small businesses, providing loans and access to capital and technical assistance, and just really glad to be here so we can share resources in the community. I'm just curious, how many of you are small business owners? How many of you are sole proprietorships? So did you know in Houston, there are more than 800,000 businesses, 700,000 of those are sole proprietorships. So that's where we focus a lot on those, and we want to be able to lift them up and then send them off to the bank. So thank you.
My name is Amber Welchel, and I'm a Senior Vice President at Stellar Bank, and my primary focus is small to mid-sized businesses. I've been in banking for 18 years now, and our bank is about $11 billion in assets. It's one of the largest community banks in Houston, and so I'm very excited to be here today.
Yes, and I'm excited.
We're competitors, Stellar.
Oh no, we're all friends. We're friends.
We're 12 billion in assets. No, just kidding. But we all work together. So.
Oh my God, way to show me up.
No, I'm kidding. Today we're all friends because we have to talk about getting you guys the capital that you need for your businesses. So all good.
Yes,
They're
and today is
competitors.
Courtney's birthday, so at the end we will acknowledge her birthday. She's 21 today. So I was excited to see all the hands that were raised. Thank you, Linda, for asking that question of how many business owners we have in the room, because I know you are all in need of some type of capital. And you might have experienced some type of challenges with receiving that capital. So let's get down to it about what kind of resources that everyone here provides to help small business owners be prepared to come to you to access capital. So we'll start with Amber at Stellar Bank. You have a financial learning center on your platform, and it has a lot of different things, essentials that small business owners should be aware of. So can you explain and share some of those resources with the small business owners in the room?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for bringing that up, Shayla. So on our website at stellar.bank, if you go into the resources section, there's some great resources there that cover a myriad of topics. So one big topic right now is fraud and how to protect ourselves from that, but there's also some self-guided templates in there that are almost like learning centers. You're kind of doing a workshop online. So one of them is how to build a business plan and what banks look for, what information to put in there, what things to consider, how to really develop that, and how to be intentional on the focus for your business and what direction you're going. There's also topics on how to build financial statements and why that's important to bankers and the different resources and platforms that you can look at. There are topics on why your personal and business credit is so important and how to build that and what things to look at and how to be intentional about utilizing credit in a way that's not going to harm you when you are ready to take that step to have conventional credit for a bank. So a lot of great resources. So again, stellar.bank, and just go to the resources section of our website, and there's a lot of different information there.
And it doesn't take that long. On the website, it tells you this will take you 3 minutes to go through this activity. This will take you 5 minutes. So if you can carve out some of that time, then you'll know exactly, like, I don't want to click on it because it may take forever. It tells you how long it'll take to go through there. So thank you so much for having that resource available. And Courtney, you do a lot of education about financial literacy at Veritex Bank. So can you tell the business owners here in the room some of the resources that you provide?
Yes, so we partner with a variety of different nonprofit organizations. CDFIs, Linda at LiftFund is actually one of my partners that we get together and we really focus on education for the entrepreneur. We want to really talk about, what your financials look like. Do you have a business plan? How to build a business plan? What marketing tactics are you using for your business? And also, just with the financials, that's such a big piece, guys, because when it comes to the access to capital, do you have a CPA? Are you using QuickBooks? Like, how are you managing your financials, right? And so at Veritex, we have a great slew of bankers that I get a chance to say, hey guys, there's an opportunity to go be a part of a panel. There's an opportunity to go be a coach for a small business competition. There's an opportunity to go teach about financials and what the bank may be looking for. So when your package comes to the bank and you say, I need a loan for 250 grand, we know exactly, okay, we told you about X, Y, and Z, and we're expecting you to have some type of packet put together that may look like that. So just a great opportunity to be able to talk to people physically in person and to get some one-on-one experience or one-on-one advice from our different bankers throughout the region. We partner with also SCORE. They're a great free financial resource where they're doing a lot of different business classes in the Houston area, but they're also SCORE chapters all over Texas, all over the U.S., where they're doing free financial advice and workshops and all different types of things that we get a chance to be a part of. Same thing with some of the other CDFIs, People Fund, True Fund, or really are focused on education for the small business owner. Because so many of us, I think, well, I'm not saying so many of us. Some people, as soon as they get a DBA or LLC, they're like, I'm in business, I'm ready to go. And it's like, there's so many other parts of that. And so we want to be a part of helping with that journey and making sure that you are successful and that you do get the things and the resources that you need.
Absolutely, and we have Origin Bank here, so shout out to Origin Bank. And so Norma has some similar resources that they provide on their website. And one of the key things that I saw on the website and I was so excited about, y'all have books. Origin Bank has books on their website that every entrepreneur should read. They have 8 books. So you need to go on there and check out those reads and make sure you get them and put them underneath the tree and maybe share them with other small business owners. So Norma, tell us about the resources
Absolutely.
at Origin.
So origin.bank, definitely a wealth of information there. We have an entrepreneur resource center, and in there you'll find, it's been mentioned about your business plan. There's a resource for business plans. There's a resource for how to grow your business and how to research your business, like what you're doing. Also, the tools that we offer, we have so many tools in there to help, and it's loaded with impactful advice and ideas that you can utilize. And what we're doing at the end of the day is we want to empower our small businesses to have the information that'll help them be successful.
Thank you so much. And Linda, you have also a small business planning page on LiftFund's website where the small business owner can go through. So why don't you tell them about the things that they can find there?
So we've got the 3 banks here, and yes, they're competitors. but we all work together, right? We're friends. And the thing is, and we heard in the marketing session, right? It's about the relationships, how do you be vulnerable, and where are the resources that we can share with each other. So as a nonprofit, we're not a bank, we don't have depositors. We do technical assistance. We now, what we called on our website, it's the LiftFund Business Resource Hub. So if you look at that, it gives you 4 different areas. There's free advising and mentoring if you have questions that you might need. There's resources that we have. There's events and workshops that Courtney had mentioned. We do partner a lot with Veritex. And the 4th one is if you're looking for the money. It's a quick survey to ask you questions. You complete it, and then our folks will get back to you to say, is there something that we can help you with, or is there another resource that can? So we're trying to make it one-stop shop. And we work with SCORE, University of Houston, the Small Business Development Center, but we also let them know because each bank has its own culture. They're all great resources, but you got to figure out what you're looking for, the type of person that you can get along with, right? Because we all have different ways that we're looking at it. But that's what we do. So we are not a one-stop shop, but we are the resource. And the other thing is, it's about we can give the capital, we can do the technical assistance, but the thing that makes us unique, and there are other CDFIs in the nation, there's 1,000, there's many that are in Houston, but we also help promote our business's business. Because you can get the money, you can get the training, but you as a small business need business. And what we do is we have a client marketplace that we promote our businesses that want to, if they're able, and have the resources to be online, can deliver a product, and we promote that to businesses as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. And one of the things that Linda just mentioned is that each bank has a culture. So we are excited that all of these resources are online. You can click on them at your own pace in the middle of the night on your own leisure. But Norma, tell us about how we can figure out which bank has the right culture and why it's important for you to have like a personal relationship with the banker.
Absolutely, that is key at the front end. It's very, very important to build that relationship, even if it's when you're initially setting up an account and you don't necessarily have a credit need. Build that relationship with a banker that's going to help you navigate the system. They're going to be able to have access to resources within the system. They're going to have access to the decision makers. They're going to be able to tell your story and be an advocate for you. That is so crucial in your success. So utilize them. They're going to also help identify what it is that you need. You might come in thinking you need one thing, but maybe it's something different that'll better match with what you're trying to accomplish. So for instance, you're not going to use necessarily a line of credit to buy a van for the flower shop. You need a loan. So they're going to help guide you. They're going to also help identify if you need treasury services, and they're going to connect you with the partners within the organization to identify exactly what's going to help you be successful. If you need merchant services, they're going to find a partner for that as well. So it is definitely very, very important, and do it at the front end.
Okay, so everyone needs to have a banker as their friend. So this sounds weird, and it sounds a little bit intimidating to go into the bank and like, okay, I'm supposed to be friends with them. So Amber, can you share how that's done, or maybe some mistakes that small business owners make in trying to build that relationship with the banker?
Yeah, I'll definitely echo that the earlier that you can start, the better. Because one mistake I do see business owners make sometimes is they wait until there's a need and there's an immediate need. And at that point, the banker hasn't established a relationship with you. They don't know who you are. And there's a lot of homework and financials that may need to be requested. And so we want to be your partner and we want to be expeditious. But it is so much easier if you start that early. The other part is Courtney and I joke that we're competitors, but it's also so important for bankers to have relationships with other banks. I've been shocked at how many times I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this because of, we may be too high in our commercial real estate portfolio, or we may not be doing hotels right now. And so we actually have to look at other banks that are doing those things, and I have bankers refer me things all the time as well. So you want a banker that is really truly going to be your trusted advisor, that has your best interest at heart and is not only talking credit needs, but they're talking to you about fraud and how to protect your deposits and cash flow. They're talking to you about services that you may need as you're growing your business. Maybe one day you don't need wires and ACH, but the next day you do. You want a banker that is educated in those things, picks up the phone, will call you back, and will establish that relationship. And I just cannot emphasize enough how important it is to do that as early as possible to establish that, to get that foundation built.
Okay, so action item, everyone is going to be friends with their banker. And if you don't have a bank and you need a friend, they're right here, okay? And so that's an action item. So Courtney, congratulations on your company, Veritex. Y'all won. Let me read it so make sure I get it right. The statewide Best of Community Banking Award. So congratulations to you. And I saw you in the pictures there to accept that honor. So tell us about how Veritex serves small business customers and the business banking experience that our friends here will experience by coming to Veritex.
So it's very similar to what the other ladies just talked about with the banks and just having that relationship. I say we are the essence of true Southern hospitality. When I say community, like the community piece is in our name. And so that's very important. Like when you walk into the bank, it's gonna be, hello, Mrs. Bowden. Hello, Ms. Toyota. Like we're gonna know what's going on. We're gonna know, who's coming in and what's happening in your life. And did your kids just win that volleyball tournament? Like graduating, like we're gonna know because we really, really care about our customers. We care about relationships, and relationships are key with our small business customers, with our real estate customers, whatever the case may be. Like our relationships really are key. Y'all remember that thing that just happened a couple years ago? That COVID-19 pandemic thing that we were all in? And they had those things called PPP? Yeah. Yeah. So they had PPP. Well, remember when that all kind of first rolled out and no one really knew what was going on and what happened or whatever the case may be? We had customers that were calling their bankers' cell phones to help them do that PPP applications and get, the funding as soon as possible. And at some of the larger institutions, that couldn't necessarily happen because sometimes, and I love large institutions too, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you can go in certain places and feel like you're a number. And we really feel like at our particular bank that you're a part of our family. And so we really hold that close to us. And so when it comes down to the experience, like we really are giving technical assistance. We really are giving advice. And like you just talked about referrals. Yes, there may be something where we're like, oh, we can't handle this. Well, let me see if we can call our friends at, Frost, at Stellar, at Origin, like whatever the case may be. So, well, yeah, and the LiftFund, that's a whole different topic because Linda is a great partner. We really partner on education, but they have access to capital, and just the overall things of what the CDFIs do are just really amazing. And so I just encourage you all with just the banking experience, come into one of the banks. Come and talk to somebody. Come and take some time to make an appointment and sit down and really tell them about your needs because we really do care and we really want to make sure that you are successful because your success equals our success. And so we really are in this together. So we really invest in our community not only through that access to capital piece, but we are volunteering in the community. We are giving sponsorships and donations to a variety of different organizations. So we really do invest in the community because that is important. Veritex Community Bank, that community is a strong piece that is in our name, and we are proud to serve local small business owners and to help in whatever way we can do so.
Well,
Shayla,
congrats to you.
can I say something?
Yes, I'm actually going to come to you, so I'm going to ask you a question and you can add on because Courtney mentioned that a CDFI is a whole different story, and I'm pretty sure it's a good story, but we don't know the story, right? I'm pretty sure some of you in here don't know what a CDFI is. At what stage in your business should you go to Linda, or when should you go to one of our other conventional banks? So Linda, can you tell us when should a business owner come to LiftFund, at what stage, and what does a CDFI really mean to the small business owners?
So CDFI is a community development financing institution. It was formed to be able to be the bridge from the businesses to traditional funders, which are the banks, right? Because of credit score, collateral issues, etc. We are the secondary resource for the small businesses. we would prefer that you find a bank to develop a relationship with. Coming to events like this is important because it's very informal, and you get to meet people not in the bank situation to say, why are you here? What do you have in common? So we really prefer that. But then we have, and we've helped more than 25,000 businesses. We were started by a woman in San Antonio. Houston is a big market for us. We've been here for 30 years, and so we hear the pain points of small businesses. And like Amber said, don't wait to the last minute. We have people that are bidding on projects, they have an RFP, and they need $350,000 like now, right? So they look at us going, well, you're going to be faster processing, et cetera. No, that's not it. You have to kind of plan out what you think you're going to be needing first. So we prefer that you look at the banking relationship. We also get referrals from the banks. And the process is we're not a bank, we don't have depositors, but we have our own underwriting department and we have loan consultants. So when you decide to apply for a loan, it's our loan consultants that take a look to make sure that you have all the right documentation. Then our underwriting folks take a look, and we have our own proprietary software. We look at more than 40 different variables of your business. We don't care who you are, where you came from, but we actually look at your business to figure out, are you going to be loanable to us? Because it's a risk for us as a nonprofit to take you on, because 96% of all the loans that we have given out to many risky businesses repay it back. That helps us, that helps the banks who refer the business to us. Those of you that were in the marketing session with Allison McFarlane, who was a fabulous panelist, Kim Roxy is who we believed in the very early days of her makeup business. She had a great product, but nobody would give her a chance. So we gave her that chance, and look at what she's doing now. She's giving back to the community. So we like to promote the businesses that we have helped because we believe in you, but you have to be honest, because you have to be able to take the feedback from whether it's a bank or us that said, we might be able to help you, but maybe not, and this is what you have to do. So we look for that honesty piece.
Let's give Linda Toyota and LiftFund a round of applause for Kim Roxy believing in them. Thank you so much. And so one of the things that often happen with small business owners when they start a business, they go and get their business name and they try to get a loan within that business, but the business may not be established. And so they don't understand that their personal credit will be used to determine whether or not they are going to be eligible for that loan, regardless if they have an EIN number. It's going to be based on their personal credit. So Norma, over at Origin Bank, you have a financial management tool on your website to help small business owners identify certain areas where they can work on their credit. So can you please tell us and educate us on why banks do that, focus on our personal credit, and the loan is going to be for my business?
Absolutely. So your personal credit is very, very important. So when advice is to know your number, understand what your credit score is, and be able to speak to it if there are concerns. And understandably, sometimes there are medical issues or what have you, but you can explain that, and that way your lender is aware of what has impacted your credit. But find ways to try to improve it. So within our online system, we do have a financial management tool that is incredible. On there, you would load up your bank accounts at our bank, but you also would load in any external bank accounts and investment accounts, as well as any loans that you have within our system and externally. All of this pulled in is going to be able to give some calculations and be able to help you with budgeting. It'll help you to identify your net worth. What is the net worth? Okay, so when you are applying for a loan, you're going to be asked to provide a personal financial statement, speaking again about why, what are we looking at? Since this is a business loan, why do you need to know about me? Well, it's going to tell a lot to the lender. We're going to identify your assets and your liabilities and then the net worth. And that's something that one should always understand and be aware of, and be able to update and know where you stand so that you can speak to it and be able to make adjustments as needed. In that financial management portal, there's debt management in there, so it can help you identify some ways to change some things to help you with your overall financial health so that you can have success with being able to obtain a credit facility. Thank you.
Okay, so we need to know our credit score, and there are a lot of free resources or tools that allow you to get that number without impacting your credit. So we need to know our credit score, and you also said a personal financial statement. So those are some of the things that you need to already have prepared before going to the bank. So Amber, tell us what else. Our small business owners here, they're getting ready, they know their credit score, they have their personal financial statement. What else should they prepare before coming to the bank to access capital?
So as a small business owner, you have so many things you're thinking about. I mean, the marketing panel talks so much about social media and metrics and what you're looking at and your business plan. So one thing I see is that sometimes business owners don't come in with a business plan. It doesn't necessarily it doesn't need to be 20, 30 pages, but it really needs to show the banker you know what business you're starting and you know what direction you're going. Sometimes I have business owners come in and they have 10 ideas that are completely different, areas. And so you really want to be intentional on focusing what is your strength, what you're starting out with, and then have a long-term goal on what that would expand into. The other thing is it's very easy to depend on bank statements as your initial financials because you are focused on so many things. You're focused on starting that business, gaining clients, and so, establishing QuickBooks or establishing some type of financial system may not be priority. Unfortunately, that is the only information the bank can really use. We're a very heavily regulated environment, and so we have to be able to show that the business can cash flow, that the business has historical financials, especially if you've been established for more than a year. It's so important to create that habit very early on. Day one, try and establish a QuickBooks or some kind of accounting system to make sure that you can show when you're ready that the bank the true financial picture of what your business looks like. Also, don't be afraid to tell the banker negative information. That marketing panel talks so much about authenticity. The only way the bank can be a true partner and really help you grow is to be completely honest about strengths and weaknesses. PPP is a great example of that. I think some businesses were even afraid to say we're struggling, but then we wake up one morning and now it's an emergency and there's a huge problem. The only way I can help you as a banker is to know the full story, good, bad, ugly, great, all of it, so I can help you grow and I can get you in the best environment, whether it's with Stellar or with alternative resources or whatever that is, because we do have a lot of contacts that we can help you with. So just don't be afraid to talk to your banker. And do it early. I always tell people my biggest enemy is lack of information. That's always my biggest enemy. And I will work with the clients that call me day one saying, Amber, I've got a problem. I will work with them all day long as opposed to the ones that I can't get a hold of for a month and then I find out there was a problem. So just don't be afraid to have that authentic relationship with integrity. That's a huge part of what we look at.
Can I piggyback on what she just said?
Yes.
Y'all, going back to the financial piece, even if you're not strong in managing your finances and you're like, I don't know anything about QuickBooks, ask somebody that is a CPA or that does have a finance degree to help you. And also tell your banker that this is maybe not my strong suit, this is not my strong piece, and maybe they will have some resources for you to get a CPA. We know folks in all different types of sectors and industries that we can be used, that you all can utilize as a resource. So please be free, tell them what's really going on. But if you know numbers is not your thing, be open and upfront about that and find someone to help you with that, because that is going to be the key when you are going to look for that $500,000 loan. If your number's not looking right, that access to that loan is not going to be looking right either. So
speaking of that, because I want to ask, and anyone can answer this question, because we talked about, personal financial statements, having your credit business plan. What if, as a small business owner, I am using PayPal, and the way I am accepting payments is through PayPal, and PayPal may have this option to give me some kind of spreadsheet? Tell me your thoughts as a banker, even if at LiftFund I came with that, how that would be perceived. or if I use Cash App. I know some business owners, they use Cash App or they use PayPal to get their payments, or they use.
I'm gonna say stop using Cash App if you do now.
Okay.
Don't use that for your business.
So
Or Zelle.
I'll start, like PayPal and things can produce. PayPal and Venmo and all those are great resources for cash flow. However, from a banker's standpoint, it's very hard for us to put that into perspective of what is your true revenue, what is your true expenses, because that shows your revenue piece and what you're collecting, but it doesn't show the expenses associated with that. It doesn't give us a balance sheet idea of how much cash you truly have in the bank, what other assets you have outside of PayPal. So while those are great resources to bring in cash, it's not a true depiction for your banker of where you are financially. And it's really probably hard as a business owner to really see where you're growing year over year, month over month, what categories are doing great, because even though it is a good projection, it's not helping you match up those expenses with that revenue. So I would just say you can use those reports, but definitely still use a bookkeeper or CPA or someone that you can hire to still manage those financials.
I just wanted to interject. It's easy to say, find a CPA, whatever. We help with the PPP process, and many of the businesses use Venmo. There's no way to consolidate how you operate your business in a document, and so that's why when Courtney mentioned SCORE, there are free resources for you as business owners that are really important, that people know about accounting, they know IT, they know strategic marketing, etc. SCORE is one of those. They have existing executives and retired executives, and there's 125 of them in Houston that are there for your service, because it's easy to say for anybody, go find the service, right? But if you don't have the cash to do that, you've got to figure out where the resources are, and I really do stress that look for the free resources first. University of Houston Small Business Development Center will help you with your business plan. It is free, all right? Then you can go to the bank. And also, when you're putting your financials together, make sure your balance sheet balances. We have people applying, no, seriously, and they're submitting information, and it doesn't balance. Once you submit it, there's no way to go back and change it, right? So really plan, like Amber and everybody is saying, really look at what, and to plan ahead. You need to know where the resources are. That's why, thanks to the Women's Chamber, to the Governor's Office, you're finding resources out there. Take the time and breathe, all right? Because we're there to help you, but we can't help you if you've already made a mistake. What happens when people need, and we give loans that are from $1,000 to $5 million, right? Kim was at the very low end of when she needed money. The banks won't touch you because they have their fees. That's why they refer businesses to us. But make sure that you know what you're doing. Be honest with yourself. So we ask the same questions as the bank. Do you have any tax liens? Do you have any outstanding debt? You have to be able, because when we look at credit checking, it's going to come up. And that's why we can't help you. So we're here to help you. But really, the integrity, be honest, right? That's okay, this is what's going on. And look at the free resources. I just had to say that.
And Norma, I wanted to go back to you since you talked about the personal credit against the business credit. Can you talk about the personal checking account versus the business checking account? Let's say I'm a small business owner. I just started. I'm using my own money to fund this project. So I only have my personal checking account, and I'm using that money to buy supplies, or I'm using my own credit card. Can you tell us a little bit about the dangers in that?
You don't want to mix them. So it is important to establish a business checking account so that you can separate the business and the personal. And this will also help when you're needing the credit. So it is vital to handle it separately.
So how does that work? How do you get a business banking account? Does anyone want to answer? How do you get a business banking account?
So as long as you filed your EIN and like your LLC or whatever your paperwork is, what kind of organization you have, you can submit that to the bank and open that business account. And then if you're putting your personal money into that account, that's where like a bookkeeper score or something can help you on how to book that, because you're basically you might be loaning the business personal money that you're going to pay back later. That's something bankers see all the time, especially with new businesses, that you're going to have your personal funds equity into that as you're establishing. So, and that'll help your financials. Going back to that too, is if you keep it all in that business checking account, it's going to be so much easier to reconcile, keep track of. It helps from liability perspective. And so there's a lot of advantages to keeping that separate.
But that's the purpose of CDFIs. So there was a women in construction in the 3rd Ward, and they had a great plan, but no bank would touch them because they had no revenue coming in. We gave them a loan, all right? We took the risk on their business. Once they got that, then the bank said, okay, we can see that you've got a plan, you've got some revenue, now we'll talk to you. So that's really the bridge between why do you go to a CDFI? The banks can do great things, but we believe, and we take more risk, that the banks can't.
Have less restrictions.
We still do great things, Linda. No, but but the CDFIs are great partners of the banks, and so when there are the deals that possibly we can't necessarily get done, we pick up the phone and call Linda and say, "Hey, Linda, take a look at this. We're going to refer this company over here." And then this company may be growing, and then LiftFund may say, "You know what? I think it's time for y'all to go to a bank and go get more money and more access to capital." And so that's kind of how that relationship can work. But we're still heavily partnering, heavily invested into the CDFIs.
Okay. And so Linda had mentioned about all of the resources. We all talked about all of these different resources that are available, including the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce. I want to put a plug in for the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. And so I'm excited to share that the Chamber received a grant from the United States Small Business Administration to establish a Women's Business Center, which is also a free resource to women and men, if you would like, to come and get tools and resources and financial education. And so I'm excited to have Stellar Bank, Veritex Bank. This is our chair of the advisory board, and also Allison here, McFarland, is also on that advisory board, and they're here to help you. And so one of the things that we do on Mondays virtually is have education and business workshops. So Courtney, would you like to share? She's going to have one in January talking about this exact topic. So Would you like to share some information about that?
So as Shayla said, so I am chairing the advisory board for the Small Business Center with the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce, powered up through the SBA, so shout out to the SBA. But on January 22nd, it's a Monday, lunchtime, noon, we Zooming, y'all. We are going to have a virtual Zoom seminar basically based on how to become bankable. Okay, how to become bankable. So talking about just some of these things right now, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth on that Lunch and Learn series. So if you go to the website of the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce, you can find it there. Also, feel free to visit the booth that's outside so you can sign up for the newsletters. We send a variety of different things throughout the year for you all to get plugged in, but just another great place of just abundance of resources, abundance of great women in the room that are always networking and really working to elevate you all to the next level. I just am really grateful to be amongst such a great group of ladies. So I'm looking forward to that workshop on January 22nd, but we'll be working with a variety of businesses, a variety of CDFIs. On the one on the 22nd, it'll be myself from Veritex Community Bank, and then also Sharonda Hill from LiftFund. So we are looking forward to that workshop in January 22nd. So thanks.
Yes, and so we have a 10-minute marker, and I know that you had your hand up and you wanted to ask a question. So are you comfortable asking it from there? Can you? Okay, great. Is it a business banking account or a personal?
So I'll just say from the bank perspective, if there's ever any questions that arise, as long as you have the backup documentation, you can answer the questions, you're honest with your banker, there's really no issue with that because you're really going to be documenting that more on your financials, which is more of our focus. But there are times sometimes that maybe a bank account has some activity that we just need to ask questions on, especially, you know, from 9/11, there's been so many different changes on what banks are responsible for just to protect people from fraud, protect from a variety of different financial risks. So as long as you're never gun shy about like, oh, okay, my banker's calling me, they have a quick question, you have backup documentation, you can answer those questions, then you're fine. I mean, I think it goes back to just making sure that you do have that business account that's tied to it to make sure you can keep that.
Thanks for asking the question. Okay.
I know. Yeah.
So I started my business very young when I was 23 in the middle of COVID, right? So now that I've pivoted to another business, even though I'm still able to hang on, there were some mistakes made. So once you kind of have already started that relationship with the bank and then you've taken those losses, how do you start to kind of come back around? Do you just start by just trying to pay off debt? Or do you come back and say, hey, let's try to, you know, grow or change this? Like, how do you rebuild those relationships after you make those?
Does anybody want to take that? Norma?
I think that's a great question. I think there's all of what you said is important. I think establishing that relationship again with your banker, being authentic, being honest. Your banker can really help guide you in, okay, you need to pay off this debt, or this is how you can get to a place that you can do conventional financing. There's so many alternatives. I know the next room's doing kind of unconventional financing. There's investors that are an option. There's LiftFund that sometimes becomes an option. There's project financing. There's collateral-based financing. And so there's a lot of partners that banks work with that if you talk to them, maybe there's another area. If you have accounts receivable coming in, there's departments that are accounts receivable financing that are going to actually like buy your invoices up front. And it'll discount it, and they actually work with the bank to say, okay, this is a business that's now at a point that's 2 years, it's looking profitable, everything's looking good, we'll transfer into a conventional financing. So you may need to be more open-minded about non-conventional financing options as you're rebuilding and as you're reestablishing yourself, but make sure you're working with someone that's willing to work with your banker on to be honest about like, yes, they're ready to now be in a conventional financing arm. But that's a great question.
And I don't think it's one size doesn't fit all, right? Like every situation is going to be a little bit different. And so that's why it is very important for you to have that relationship with the banker, say, hey, this is what's going on, because the next person may have a similar situation, but the solutions may not be the same. So I think that's really important too. And I'll also say the relationship with the banker is key and knowing the different resources out there. And also, I know we also live in a time of where social media and business information is flowing left and right. Please be careful of what you're consuming on the social media side too, because there's a lot of bad information that's out there that is a lot of misconceptions, and people are thinking, oh, I can walk into the bank and I can do X, Y, and Z because so-and-so influencer said that, and they have never had a business in their life, you know? And so it's very important to know where you're consuming information for, and just research for yourself too. Really take some time to research for yourself, and then to go make those appointments with those bankers and sit down and have those conversations, because you may be talking to somebody that specializes in particular industries or, you know, whatever the case may be. So just know one size doesn't fit all, and watch where you are consuming your information from as it relates to business strategy, advice, all of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we have 5 more minutes left, but I wanted to ask Norma one more thing about making sure that the business owner knows their credit score, knows what information to put on their personal financial statement. So can you explain to the small business owners here how getting a loan works as far as the number? A lot of small business owners think that getting a business loan is similar to like getting a car or a house. You go see what you qualify for. Let me see how much I can qualify for. Then I'll tailor my business to that number. Or just like how when you go see how much you qualify for a house and you find a house within that price range. But a business doesn't work like that. Can you talk about that just briefly?
No, it's the business is going to look at, on the personal side, we're going to look at your score, but overall, it's going to be more based on the business and reviewing the financials of the business. So, but it is important. Banks have guidelines and limitations on credit scoring, and so that can just be a deal breaker. So at the end of the day, we're going to look at the business as well and match the two together. So both are important.
Mm-hmm. So you have to go into the bank knowing what your number is. Yes. I need $250,000, and this is why. And you know exactly what you're going to spend the $250,000 on. It's not, I go to the bank, how much do I qualify? How much you going to give me?
I don't know.
How much you going to give me? Okay, so we'll get your question, and then we'll have them give their final remarks.
There's a nonprofit called Bridge Path, and all they do is help people with their credit score. Because we refer to Rudy Cavazos a lot, because we accept a lower credit score on our loans versus what the banks can do. But sometimes you need to hear from an outside person on the steps to take, because then you can go to a bank. But it's Bridge Path. It's a nonprofit.
Thank you, Linda, for providing that. Okay, so I got a 2-minute warning, so I want to comply with the time. So just final thoughts, final advice for our small business owners out here who are seeking capital, trying to be bankable so they can start or expand or grow their business. So we'll just go down the line. Norma, any final comments?
Yes, my main comment is to connect and to find a mentor that's been in your shoes and that has made the mistakes and you can learn from them, and also to utilize the resources that have been mentioned, the Small Business Development Center, the Women's Business Center. Those are free resources, so make sure to utilize them. Connect through your local Chamber of Commerce and just make those connections that'll help you with your success.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda.
Have a sense of humor. Right? I mean, really, for anyone that's started a business or even if one's failed, whatever, there's always something in the silver lining, so keep that in mind. And there's people that also experience that. So ask questions and be curious is really my advice, because we all don't have the answers. I mean, we can sit here, but we don't have the answers. When you talked about your situation, I would have referred you to somebody else, because I'm not a lender, and neither, because the lending piece is very different, but be curious and ask questions.
Thank you. All right, Amber.
Yeah, I echo what Norma and everybody in this panel has said as well. And I'll just echo that people bank with people. So find someone that you connect with, that you have a relationship with, that you do trust, that you can build that rapport. And also know that if you find that person, that banker is trying to help you succeed. So they may not tell you the answer you might like, but they have a reason for it. There's so many times that I have to explain to some customers that, like, hey, a borrowing base in place is not because I'm trying to restrict your growth. It's actually so you don't wake up one morning finding out you're upside down and you have more liabilities than assets. There's actually a reason that the bank is putting these things in place, and it's not just selfish for the bank. It's actually to really help you grow in a way that's successful and doesn't cause problems in the future. So just really approach your banker as a partner, as someone who wants you to succeed, and as someone that's going to be there to support you.
Quick plug. So I was talking to our SBA director just a couple days ago, and our 2024 focus really is minority-owned businesses, veteran businesses, and women-owned businesses. So we're looking at $500,000 or less that you may be seeking as far as access to capital. Those are some really big focuses we're looking at for our SBA team, as well as Veritex has a great women in business program where we believe in networking and relationship building, because I find out so much information from just other women entrepreneurs and business professionals out there. Lots of times we have bankers that are there in attendance, and you just never know, just connecting and really talking to those bankers and other women entrepreneurs that are at the program or at the networking socials, just what you can have access to. So if you want to connect with me about that, please feel free to pull me to the side after this panel.
Perfect. Well, let's give a round of applause to our panelists here. Thank you all so much. They have a wealth of knowledge, so don't just listen. Come and engage, get their contact information, connect with them, set up a consultation. They're all friends. So thank you all so much for being in our session. Please make sure that you get your action items, go on their website, get the resources, but also be friends with your banker. Yes. All right? Thank you.